Okay, Megatrip, I say the day is finally here. It is time to head off on the big old Megatrip. So I'm here in Heathrow Airport, just getting checked in. I'll share a bit more about what I'm doing in a little bit. I've met up with my travel buddy for today probably. But for now, here's what's coming up on this episode of Megatrip. So I guess it's Beijing or bust. Down to the gate after a few light beverages, never hurt anyone. I hear the Peking duck's pretty good. Nom nom. Okay, so we've just eaten all of the duck. Approached by a lovely little dog. Look at this guy. And it is a cheeky little 53% by volume for any Americans out there. So that would be 106 proof in American. Okay, so through the magic of editing, you now know more than me about what's going to happen to me on this episode of Megatrip. So, we are off to Beijing, China for first stop on this Megatrip. I'll give you a bit more detail about Beijing and who I'm travelling with in a little bit. But first, don't forget, this is the very first episode of the real Megatrip, and I promise you it is going to be an exciting global adventure you're not going to want to miss. So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the videos you like, comment as we go along, let me know what else you'd like me to get up to on this Megatrip. But for now, cue the music. So this time on Megatrip, I've got a very exciting travel buddy. You'll be glad to know. It is basically the stretched version of me. My brother said, here he is. You made it then?
Yeah, just about.
Stressful?
Yeah, that was more stressful than I really wanted. I thought I'd be here nice and early, I'll have a coffee, I'll relax.
No such luck.
No such luck.
Right, well
That'd be the happen.
let's go get sorted and checked in. There it is. We'll get some lounge beers. Yeah. Well, I'll leave you here. That sounds free security. Seb's just in doing some retail therapy, getting himself some new sunglasses. So just to give you an idea of where we're going. Off to Beijing, just for a short pit stop. We're flying with China Southern. And a bit of a bargain here at Terminal 4. So we got the flights for £200 one way, but that's actually all the way to our next destination. I'm not going to ruin where that is yet. But we're stopping in Beijing for one night, 14 hours, so we'll show you a little bit of the city and see what you can do with one night in Beijing. So I guess it's Beijing or bust. Anyway, what I should say as well is we did upgrade ourselves to business when we got to check in. So we'll have a little bit of luxury on the way there. Down to the gate after a few light beverages, never hurt anyone. And just like that, we were on the plane to Beijing. Like I said, we upgraded to business class, so here's the little amenity kit. As ever, you get a little eye mask. We dig around in here, you can see you get some earphones as well. You know, let's speed this up. You also get a comb, pretty regular, little brush. And then you get your creams and moisturizers, so a nice little body cream, alongside a face cream as well, or a little lip balm in there. And of course, a toothbrush if you're feeling a little bit claggy on the flight. So that was the amenity kit. Okay, I would say, but let's be honest, we upgraded for the legroom, so all good. Although we upgraded, we didn't manage to upgrade our meals as they'd already been bought, but this is what you get as standard on China Southern flying from London Heathrow to Beijing. So this time I had some nice little pork and rice, which you'll see in here with some nice Asian seasoning. Perfectly okay. It's airline food. Nothing to shout about, nothing to write home about. Some veggies in the corner as well. Pretty healthy, pretty filling. Did the job, if I'm honest. And it comes with a nice little tray, which I'm failing to open here, with the kind of sides in here. So a little prawn salad, some bread, and a nice kind of strawberry fruity mousse for dessert. That, I have to say, was absolutely delicious. Boom, just like that, it was gone. You can see I managed to clean up on this one. At which point we had a little bit of a sleep as we went over the desert in the night on the plane. Next morning, you get breakfast service before you land. Again, this is what you get in standard class. I'd ordered beef noodles for my brekkie. Coming with that, you get your standard yogurt, your fruit, and a little pastry. All perfectly nice. Did the job and got me ready to land for our arrival in Beijing. A pretty good flight. We stepped off into a very sunny 31 degrees in Beijing Daxing Airport. Now let's see about the immigration process. I wanted to tell you just a little bit about the process of getting into China at Beijing Airport when you have a layover. And I wanted to take the time to actually tell you about it because we found it a little bit confusing. I didn't find that much information online. So I just wanted to set your mind at rest, tell you how easy it is, tell you what to expect, tell you how long it takes. So we've come out from the airport on our layover on our way to another destination. And we're only here for about 14 hours. But we're here on the visa exemption for 144 hours. So you can apply for a special visa-free transit entrance, and that's for a lot of countries. For us, it's for the UK, but there's many, many, many countries that you can do that for, and you can find that online nice and easily. So that's kind of the easy bit. It's free, you don't have to pay for it, but there are some processes when you get here. So some things that you'll need is an onward flight booked, hotels booked for where you're staying in China, and also you're not able to leave the area. So if you come to Beijing, you have to stay in the greater Beijing area. But it's up to 144 hours, so I think that's something like 6 days. Obviously, we're not using all of that. Now, what is a little bit confusing is when you land at the airport, what do you actually do? Okay, so we've arrived at Beijing. We've had to go through and get our fingerprints collected or collect our own fingerprints. We've had a health check. We've filled in some paperwork. And now we are sitting, waiting for the immigration police, I guess, to go through our paperwork and see if they're going to let us in or not for our little transit. There's absolutely no one here. We've been told to take a seat and wait. So as Seb said, it's a case of Schrodinger's visa. Let's see what happens. So they'll give you a landing card on the plane. You don't actually need to fill that out at all. So that was a bit of a waste of admin. So you get off the plane, and the first thing you do, as you're walking through, you will see signs for foreigners to register their fingerprints. So you have to go up to a little kiosk, you scan your passport, you put your fingerprints on there, and it gives you a little receipt, a little docket. That's step one. So you take that, you then walk through, and you go to the immigration hall. And as you're getting there, they'll funnel you off to the side if you're a foreigner, and you have to do a quick health check. All of that is filling in your details in another kiosk. It gives you another little docket, another little receipt. You go through, you get a little swab, and then they have your details. So in case you do have something like COVID, which obviously they're quite protective about, China's only just kind of opening back up now, then that's just to protect against that. You then go through to the main kind of immigration area. Now, if you're a Chinese national, you just walk through as normal, go through customs and out the door. That's not the case if you're applying for a special visa exemption as a foreigner to stay here for a layover. So once you get into that main area, there'll be some guys walking around and they will hand you a specific form to fill out for the visa exemption, for the transit exemption, and then you have to go and wait for a quick interview. Now, the queue for the interview, you need a little ticket. It's like a queuing system like you might get at the post office or any kind of service place. My big tip for you, my MEGATRIP tip, is before you fill in the form, the first thing you want to do is go hit the button, get your ticket for that queue, get in line, and then you can fill in the form while you're waiting. It did take quite a long time to go through there. For us, it probably took maybe about an hour, but we were second in the queue, and there were maybe kind of 40 people waiting to do that. You fill in the form. You meet with the wonderful person, the immigration officer there, and they just check your documentation, check you've got that onward flight, check where you're going, check your hotels are all reserved, basically check you're doing what you say you are doing. You then get a little sticker that goes in your passport that gives you that 144-hour visa exemption. And with that, as normal, you just nip through immigration. It was really, really quick for us, maybe took 5 minutes maximum. And then through customs as normal. We had our bags checked, but they just run them through a scanner really quickly. Again, 1 or 2 minutes, and then out at the airport. The other thing that we found a little bit confusing, if I'm really honest, was trying to get the metro. In the end, we gave up. We couldn't figure it out. We needed cash, and we didn't have any cash. So another tip, if you're in Beijing, Daxing Airport, when you arrive, if you need cash, you go up to the 4th floor, and there's a bank there, and that's where you can get cash at the ATM up there. What we did then was just nip down to the 2nd floor, jumped in a taxi, and that took us all our way into the middle of Beijing now, here at Kelly's Courtyard. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight if you want to use that 144-hour visa exemption here in Beijing. As you'll have probably seen in the video by now, getting out of Beijing airport on the 144-hour visa is a little bit of a faff. But we also couldn't figure out public transport. We finally made it into town, hopefully near our hotel. So we're now just walking down an alley, trying to figure out where we're going to stay. But let's have a little look about, see what we can find. Cameras everywhere. Mr. Peking Garden. It looks like we're in the land of boutique hotels, so we could be in the right place. Yeah, that's us. Okay, Mega Trippers, so we've just checked into our hotel here in Beijing. It is absolutely lovely, a little place called Kelly's Courtyard. It's not really about the room here, actually. It's much more about the environment. I'll show you that in a second. But let's have a quick look at the room. Let's see what about 60, 70 quid gets you. I'll be honest, I can't really remember what we paid for this place. But let's have a little look around the room, eh? So, all the rooms are based off a courtyard. You come in, got a nice little cupboard, safe, somewhere to hang your jacket. Maybe a little bit short, but that's usually okay for me being a bit short. Nicely decorated, really cool mirror here as you'd expect, and some, I'm assuming, very, very safe electrics in case it gets cold in the night. A little ensuite next to it, with a little wet room, a shower and toilet, and a nice bed. Again, so very, very much about the atmosphere here. Quite trendy, I guess boutique hotel. But before we go and check out the rest of it, which is really the important bit, let's see what the old bed's like, eh? Oh, I tell you what, after many, many hours just spent on the plane, that is a relief. But now, let's go have a look at the rest of this place. So you can see, I guess now we're up on the roof. Kelly's Courtyard here is really about the atmosphere. Great little location. If I'm honest, we kind of planned to explore the city a little bit this afternoon, but it's taken us a lot longer than we thought to get through, I guess, immigration and get into the country. So I think we'll just go a little walk around the local area. But I'll tell you what, after a long journey, being somewhere like here really does scratch a little itch. I'm very, very happy to be here. I don't think I've ever been so happy to see my brother. Here he is. What are we drinking?
We're drinking local beer, whatever this is.
We are drinking Yanjing beer. Yanjing beer.
It looks beery.
Looks beery. Looks cold. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well needed.
Yeah, that is the spot. It's better than that whittle yesterday.
I might be one that don't even remember yesterday.
Yeah, you didn't drink beer.
Ah, that's why.
Stuck in your mind.
That'll be why. Oh yeah, no, I didn't drink beer. I was on gin. Much better. So in good news, Seb's just told me that his all his spare clothes are in his whole baggage going through to our next destination. So we have a stinky stretched dom for the next few hours. Luckily, I think we booked our seats with an aisle between us, so we're probably all right. He said that way, didn't he?
That way.
Or should we go?
Well, we could go either.
Let's go this way. So here's what I know about Beijing. It's the capital city of China. It's just on the edge of the Gobi Desert. It's got a history stretching back 3 millennia. Very much famed for its modern architecture, but also has a lot of ancient history here. Things like Tiananmen Square, which have the Mao Zedong mausoleum there. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I hear the Peking duck's pretty good. Nom nom. Not really sure what I expected of Beijing, but I think it's pretty fair to say it wasn't this. So far, it's lots of nice little alleys, lots of reasonably friendly people, some nice big avenues with deciduous trees on, didn't really expect that. And Seb made a really good point actually, it's a little bit like LA. I'm not sure I agree with that completely, but there's certainly something of that in it. You want to know what the weather's like? It's a balmy 31 degrees, can't really go wrong with that. So we have a little wander round, see what's up, definitely get something to eat, definitely get a drink, and we'll go from there. Try not to get hit by anything. Oh yeah, that was the best one, isn't it? Is that the inn door? I think that's the inn also, maybe. Did it look too good for us? Alright, here we go?
Yeah, why not?
Sure. Right, step one, meatballs.
Well, there you go.
So these are deep fried meaty something or other. Marks out of 10?
They're nice. Go light on that.
Out of 10, they're nice, okay. Go light on that, why?
Very salty.
Is it because that is salt?
It is because that is salty.
Right, okay, so the salt is salty. You should be a food with you.
Oh, sure, if it was salt. But it's kind of salt with...
Let's go with the sweet chilli. Do you think we've overordered? I think we might have ordered a whole duck. There's a possibility we've ordered a whole duck. We don't know. We'll find out. Wow. Would you look at that? Steaming, smoking. Lovely. It's alright, Seb. We'll get your laughing gear around one. Let us know what you think.
Have a little bob.
So we've definitely realised we've over-ordered, but we've also realised we're okay with it. So these I think were pomegranate dumplings? The taste of pomegranate? So we go.
It's actually very pleasant.
So a bit of smoky.
That's a bit of a banner though. It's an interesting one as it develops as well. The more you chew it, the flavour rolls. got a nice little story with that.
Genuinely no idea what's in that. Very exciting dining experience here in Beijing. We've got no idea what we're doing, but so far so good. The beer.
Absolutely not good. The beer is cracking.
Yeah, the beer is good. The Yanjing beer is good. It's quite weak. Just see what we've ordered. But the beer's quite weak. It's very, very good.
I wouldn't say one of those ducks you ordered.
Yeah, we might have ordered 2 ducks by the looks of it. Great.
We're going to have sandwiches tomorrow.
Do you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I need to look up the phrase, we're stupid Englishmen, we don't know what we're doing, please just bring us nice things and we'll pay you at the end of the night. I'm okay with that, and this is how I go. I'm alright with death by duck. I think it's fine. They're definitely starting to realise we haven't got a fucking clue what we're up to. What? Wow. If we cut into that second one, we're in trouble. Let's have a little go at the main show here, some lovely duck fat. This looks fucking sick. Somebody call the vet, because this duck is sick.
Two ducks are in trouble. There's one duck, I think it's meant.
So only one duck between us, should be right.
Yeah, the other duck has ducked off, so.
Okay, so we've just eaten all of the duck in that lovely restaurant. Almost called it a Chinese restaurant, but obviously. Look, we didn't really know what we were ordering, didn't really know what we were doing, but we lucked out. I think we spent about 25 or 30 quid. I'll put the kind of price conversion up on this. It's 332 yuan. Absolutely stuffed. Very interesting. We think we probably had a visit from the local mafiosa, sat in the corner, drinking a big bottle of whiskey that he brought it himself, smoking, chucking his cigarette ends on the floor, so that was nice. And a few gentlemen were completely shirtless by the end of the day, so it was all good. So in the last little, God knows, attempt to do something this evening, we have got ourselves some of the local hooch. Absolutely no idea what it is. Fenju. It is produced by Shaanxi Jingsakun Fenjiu Distillery Co. Limited. Almost definitely mispronounced that. And it is a cheeky little 53% by volume for any Americans out there. So that would be 106 proof in American. I will see you tomorrow, but it's likely going to be with a hangover. Seb, what are you reviews?
I'm not sure you will see them tomorrow. You might be blind.
Great.
It's surprisingly smooth, but the after effects can be lethal.
All right, well, we're going to have a little drink of this. In fact, do you mind just pouring me a little splash, Seb, and I'll give it a go.
Review it.
And I'll review. Review's not the right word.
Glass, or would you like it?
No, like whatever, doesn't matter.
No,
Yeah, see-through glass.
a see-through, you can
We're sharing a glass tonight because no germs are going to survive anyway. And it means I can see the pain.
probably
So,
sufficient.
down in 53%. That tastes absolutely disgusting. I feel like I've had that taste a million times in my life. Never gets any better. It's not quite Zivonir of Cyprus, but I've definitely had something similar. Right, well, we're going to try and drink a bit more of this. Night. Okay, Megatripper, so that is enough for our time here in Beijing. 14 short hours. We had a little bit of fun. I think it was quite good. So remember, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you thought about the video, and join us next time on Megatrip, this time from Japan.